Yo, what is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we are going to be doing episode number 43 of I Build Your Teams, the series where I build my viewers' teams into the best teams possible for my team unlimited and or competitive play based on how much MT they have and what their squad is currently looking like. Before we hop into the video, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button, help me push towards the 6,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload every single day, and I would really appreciate your support if you haven't already, if you do subscribe. Additionally, if you want to be involved in a future episode of this series, make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link is in the description below. Be on the lookout for a tweet about this series on Friday nights and drop your team under that tweet for a chance to be involved in a future episode. But yeah, without further ado, let's not waste any time. Let's hop right into it. Starting off with Peyton's team today. He's got 80 to 90 KMT, plays on Courage and about to get Jokic. Was thinking about benching Dyson and taking Jalen Rose out of his lineup. Me personally, what I would do once you get Jokic is I would start Jokic at the 1. He is elite, and then bring MJ still at the 2. The rest of your starting lineup is absolutely elite. I would personally sell Dyson Daniels, and I would sell Rudy Gay. I would bring Jalen Rose off the bench, and I would type in the locker code for Devin Booker if you haven't already, and play D-Book as your backup too, because of his uncontestability. Really makes him an elite ball handler coming off the bench. Gives you a primary ball handler off the bench, I think, because of how hard he is to contest, and the fact that his jumper is just such elite, and his movement isn't terrible either. But that's what I would do. And then I think selling Dyson Daniels, selling Rudy Gay is going to free up some MT for future content drops to get the budget versions of top cards, or even get some of those top cards. And I think that's going to be the better move for you. And honestly, I like that team just as much. Jalen Rose and D-Book versus Dyson and Rudy. I'm totally cool with Jalen Rose and D-Book. I think that's just as good, and you're going to save yourself some MT by doing that. So for me personally, sell those two guys once you get Jokic, and plug in Devin Booker at your backup too, and the rest of your team is absolutely incredible. Next team today comes in from May. He says he likes having fun at D-Way, doesn't really need him, doesn't know which Yao to get, keeps spinning MT, so he's got around the 20k MT on Courage. So he's got D-Book, Rudy Gay, Maravich, LaMelo, AK, Danny Ferry, Paolo Banchero, D-Rob, Yao Ming, Kareem, D-Wade, and another Yao. Okay, so definitely this Yao is the better one, the flash glitch one, so I would definitely keep him plugged into the squad. He said he's trying to get Vince Carter, and he has anniversary Giannis, which I don't think is very good. So for me personally, I could definitely see some areas to improve with the squad. In all honesty, I'm just going to pull up 2KDB real quick just to help you out. I might use this for a couple of teams this video, just to help you out just a little bit. But team here, D-Book and Rudy Gay is your starting 1 and your starting 2 is really, really solid. I have no issues with that whatsoever. I don't love AK at the 3 at this point in the year, but again, I don't think he's a bad option either. I think you could actually, you know what I would do? Just sell him, throw in a guy like Thonmaker. Thonmaker's just going to be just as good. Actually, I say that. You know who you could throw in here actually is going to be the 75th anniversary Giannis, who's actually very cheap and a very, very solid card. One of the new Dark Matters to drop today. I would throw him in there at the 3. I think that's going to be a great option. Paulo, I would sell, and I would replace him with Mark Williams. Mark Williams is cheaper than Paulo, and he's better than Paulo at the 4. That's a pretty easy one right there. And then keep Yao at the 5. I think that's an easy starting lineup, basically. A little bit of a way to change your starting lineup around. Now, coming off the bench, sell LaMelo, sell Wade. Honestly, I don't think Pistol Pete plays either. I know this is only an Opal, but I think Nick Batum slides in here at the backup 1. Incredible defender. I think he's a really, really solid card. At your backup 3 and your backup 4, Danny Ferry, I do think should stay. And the reason that I say that is because I think you should pick up Larry Nance as well and take advantage of this duo. I mean, this duo gives both these guys 46 Hall of Fame badges, makes them absolutely elite Dark Matter cards. And this duo is super cheap, literally 10k between the two of these players. And it's incredible. It will really, really help out your squad a lot. And then at the backup 5, I definitely think you sell Kareem as well. Now, who you pick up at the backup 5 is kind of up to you. If you have Mark Eaton from Clutch Time, you throw him in there. If you have Manute Bull from Challenges, I think you throw him in there as well. I think those are two guys that are pretty much automatic plugins if you have those two guys. If not, I'm not entirely sure who you plug in at that backup 5 for the time being, because I think Mark Williams is one of those best budget guys. And then at the backup 3 as well, I would probably just go with a guy like Gerald Wallace for the time. Actually, you know, DeMar DeRozan. I think DeMar DeRozan is a guy you can slide in here for the time being, who's a very, very solid card and super cheap as well. So you build a squad like this, throw in a guy like Manute if you have him off the bench. If you don't have Manute, Mark Eaton's a great guy if you have him. And if you don't have Mark Eaton, honestly, what I'd probably do is just go play Clutch Time, save some MT, grind for Weber, hopefully get Eaton, and save yourself a little bit of MT so that you can upgrade that center position further, because I think you will definitely appreciate having a little bit more depth. But for now, you build a squad like this, play some Clutch Time, grind toward that Chris Webber, and your team's going to be looking super, super solid. So third team today comes in from CU. He's got 110k, wants to know how he could improve his team. So Dyson Daniels, Danny Granger, Malik D-Book, Weber, Martin, Jaren Jackson, Mo Bamba, Yao, and Manute. I would start Yao over Manute. I think Yao is better than Manute, but I think you can definitely run both of those guys at your centers and have a ton of success. I would personally, honestly, same thing like I reckon. I say that. No, that's not what I would do. I would pick up Mark Williams, start him at the 4, and I'd bring Jaren Jackson off the bench at the 4, sell Mo Bamba, sell Danny Ferry, sell Joe Johnson. Just free up some MT from selling all those guys. And then your front court with Mark Williams, Yao, Jaren, and Manute is going to be super, super solid. I would also start D-Book over Malik Sealy. I feel like that's pretty much a no-brainer. Throw him in there for Malik Sealy, and also sell Danny Granger, replace him with Jalen Rose. Since you have Weber already, you have Jalen Rose as well. So throw Jalen Rose in at the backup 2, or at the backup 1, I should say. And then at the backup 1, you could stick with Malik Sealy. You could go with a guy like Rudy Gay or DeMar DeRozan, but I think your team at that point is looking super solid. And for me, that is how I would adjust this one personally. Next squad today comes in from Sylvan. He's got 100 KMT, plays on current, and he's got another super solid squad. Jalen Rose, MJ, Chris Webber, Mark Eaton, Yao Ming, D-Book, Ray Allen, Giannis, Jaren, and Manute with 100 KMT. Sell this Giannis and swap him out for the 75th anniversary one. He's just going to be a little bit better, similar in price as well. I think that's just a quick, simple upgrade that you can make. It's only going to cost you a little bit of MT and give you a better version of Giannis, who's still pretty darn cheap. And then I think you pick up somebody at the 2. Ray Allen is super solid, but D-Book is going to be your primary ball handler and main scorer off the bench. So I think adding a guy like Rudy Gay, especially if you can, actually, I say that's not what I would do. I would add Dyson Daniels, and I would play Dyson Daniels and Jalen Rose as your 2 PGs and MJ and D-Book as your 2 shooting guards. That's what I would do personally, as well as swapping Giannis out for the 75th anniversary dark matter Giannis that Josh dropped. If you do those things, you got a super solid squad, already a good team, but just small upgrades that you can make that will continue to improve it. Next team today comes in from Chaps. He's got 190 KMT. Again, plays on current gen. Dyson, Rudy, Jabari, Bam, Yao, Manute, D-Book, and Pete Maravich. He needs some pieces to his squad, clearly, to really help him out a bit. And what I would say, honestly, right now is I think you need to focus on more building a clutch time type of lineup, just so that you can pursue Chris Webber. One guy who's basically a must to pick up is Mark Williams. You slide him in here at the 4, and then bring Bam Adebayo off the bench. And then once you're grinding clutch time, you'll get Chris Webber, which will allow you to move Jabari Smith to the bench. You get potentially Mark Eaton, who could play the backup 4 or the backup 5. You get Jalen Rose, who can replace Pete Maravich. And then you can swap D-Book and Rudy Gay. But I would definitely swap D-Book and Rudy Gay. Play Dyson, D-Book, Jabari, Mark Williams, and Yao in clutch time for now, and use clutch time to build out the rest of your squad and still allow you to save a lot of MT. If you're looking for a 10-man right now to play unlimited, I think something along the lines of Dyson, D-Book, Jabari, Mark Williams, Yao, and then coming off the bench, something like Nick Batum, Rudy Gay, Danny Ferry, Larry Nance, and Manute Bol would probably be the way that I would go. Personally, that's how I would go if I was building a 10-man. Again, not going to be that much more expensive either. Still using great budget guys and saving yourself a spot. But for me, I think focusing on clutch time and just adding Mark Williams for now and then using those clutch time pieces to improve your team is the way to go. Next squad today comes in from Coach Cabo. He's got 100K to work with. His Dyson, Luka, and Taco are fully badged, and he's got a really good squad. I personally think Scotty Barnes is not worth the MT that he's going for. He's very expensive, and a card that's over 500,000 MT, maybe even more than that, depending on when you sell him and how much you wind up getting for him if you get lucky or not. I just don't think he's quite worth that MT. So for me personally, I think you slide in a guy like Jabari Smith. He's much cheaper than Scotty. You can get one that's relatively badged up for a ton cheaper than what Scotty Barnes is going for right now. And I would slide him in at the 3. I think that's an upgrade. And then I think what you could continue to do is probably work on clutch time. I'm not sure if you're grinding clutch time this season so far, but if you're not, need to make sure you're doing that. Chris Webber, in my opinion, is the best 3 in the game besides in-game Giannis, and is absolutely elite at that position. So I think you could slide him in at the 3 eventually, and that'll free up a little bit more MT to pick one of Jabari and Giannis and play them at the backup 3. Other than that, I like this team a lot. I think you could upgrade Arvydas Sabonis to a guy like Chet Holmgren as well as one other recommendation that I would personally make. Or if you get Mark Eaton from the clutch time wheel spins while trying to get Chris Webber, you slide him in at that backup 4 as well. But I definitely would think selling Scotty to free up MT, throwing in a guy like Jabari for now, and then Chet at the backup power forward are 2 ways that you can definitely help out this team and save yourself a bunch of MT as well. Give yourself MT for future content drops. And then we got the last team in the video, which comes in from my boy Hims. He is one of my good friends in the competitive community. Doesn't really even play my team anymore for this year. He hasn't been playing for the last couple months, although he'll be back in 23, of course. But he sent in this team, and obviously it's a troll team. This is a season 1 team, and this was a great team back in the day. If y'all played back then, y'all would know how good this team was early in the year. This was a competitive level lineup, but Clearly, at this point in the year, that is not true. And even though this is a troll team, he said he wants to see if I can really build a team. And you know what? I am a master of building teams, so I feel confident that we can turn this team into something super special. And yeah, so the way that we're going to do that, I'm going to pull up 2KDB because this is going to be a little bit of a process. I know it's a little bit of a joke, but I just wanted to include this team and maybe show off a little bit as well. As he says, 15,000 MT. You can sell AI, you can sell Kobe, you can sell LeBron, you can sell Dikembe, you can sell D Rose, and you can sell Donovan Mitchell. Those 6 players combined are going to make you 10 to 15,000 MT. So let's just say you're playing with 30,000 MT after selling these cards, and maybe even 25,000 MT, but somewhere between that 25 to 30,000 MT after you sell those cards. The way that we're going to do this is we're going to build ourselves a viable clutch time lineup. The first guy we're going to plug in is going to be Nicholas Batum. He's 5,000 MT. Easy first piece to this lineup. At the 2, we got a free card who just came out, Devin Booker, Invincible Locker Code, totally free. Pick him up, slide him in at the 2. Then at the 3, we're going to take advantage of that duo. Throw Danny Ferry at the 3, Larry Nance at the 4, which gives us 2 46 Hall of Fame badge, absolute beast, all around dark matter cards for a combined 10,000 MT. And then finally, we're going to throw Yao Ming in at the 5, who is literally 9,000 MT. For this whole team, you're going to be spending less than 25,000 MT. And then what you do is you grind clutch time. And you can use this team and win the vast majority of your games at clutch time. I could easily get Chris Webber using this team, and I'm sure the vast majority of y'all can too. So then, once you get Chris Webber, all of a sudden, that's freeing up more MT. You're going to make MT. You're going to have an in-game small forward. And then you have Jalen Rose, who's also a great card. Let's say you get lucky and you get Mark Eaton. You can throw him in there. But even if you don't get Mark Eaton, you're going to make MT just by playing clutch time, getting the rewards, getting the wheel spins, things like that. And all of a sudden that's going to free up more MT, with which you can buy a guy like Mark Williams. You can buy Gerald Wallace. Before you know it, your team could be looking something very, very similar to this, just by playing clutch time and starting off with that 30,000 MT. That is how easy it is to be a no money spent player right now in my team. Even if you don't get Mark Eden, let's say you get unlucky, you throw Mark Williams at the backup 5, and then you just wait. And who would I throw in at the 4? I'm not even entirely sure. I'm trying to think of a budget 4 right now. My brain's not even working, so I'm not even going to stress about it too much right now. Yeah, you know what? We'll just throw this guy in because I know he's cheap. We'll throw in Thon Maker. Very, very cheap card. Again, he's gone down in price significantly. You could be looking at this team by the time that you finish clutch time, starting from this squad. But again, starting with this starting lineup, which this team right here, these 5 players, going to cost you about 25,000 MT. Then you play clutch time, and very soon you got a squad that is looking something like this just from playing clutch time and grinding the game just a tiny bit, starting from a team like this in 15,000 MT. So just wanted to show off a little bit, show that I can build this squad into something super solid. And yeah, that's how easy it is to get a competitive level, really, really solid squad in my team. So hopefully y'all did enjoy this video and did enjoy that little rabbit trail at the end of the video. And if y'all did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.